Dr. Kiltz, it's so good to see you.
Oh my God, God bless you. It is amazing to see you. And thank you for inviting me to join and share ideas of how to, for all of us to just live a more joyful life and know that fertility is just with us today and every day. Isn't this rocking crazy?
I have to tell you, you're one of my favorite human beings. You just really are. And when I stumbled across this whole carnivore thing, and when I saw that you were educating on it, I'm like, I have to have a conversation with him again.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I'm learning every day from people like you. And the more we just share this, the better. And, we're not fighting anyone's other ideas. We're just spreading the word of something more amazing. And I'm kind of a guy of faith and believes in the word. And the more I've learned what the word of God gives us, we're just teaching other gods a way that they might go like, wow.
I love that about you. I love that. Well, let's jump right in. And Dr. Kiltz, I mean, my audience loves you because they remember your first interview. So they just absolutely adore you. But let's jump right in about like, what is this carnivore diet? If somebody is just hearing about this, not sure what to think about it, how would you describe it?
Well, I mean, truly, we know what a carnivore is. It's a lion. And that's the simplistic way. And it's not difficult. It's easy. And omnivores eat plants and animals. Herbivores eat only plants. And carnivores eat only meat. And it's not lean meat they eat. The lions go for the fatty meat. And it turns out what I've learned is that this label that fat is bad is actually a lie. Fat is good, both eaten and carried. If you're skinny and there's a famine, you're fertilizer. And sometimes my ideas are a little kind of crazy and I don't want to offend anyone. But when I learned, when I grew up, I grew up in the era where, if you're fat, you're unhealthy and you better lose weight. And we even learned how to chastise. And I know I chastised my father and my sister because they were always overweight. And I know my mother was always trying to feed my sister diet food. Now, she was a diabetic since age 4. And my dad did everything he could, but he was always chunky. And obviously my mother was afraid that my father was going to die of obesity and my sister was going to die of diabetes and eating the wrong food. But then after my sister died at age 52, my best friend Dave, a great doctor, died at 52 of lymphoma. I went on a quest to figure out why. And now I believe the answer is simple. We don't need science to give us some like really complicated answer at all. It is simply we're eating the wrong food for a lion. And if you know what a lion and a wolf is, they eat meat and they hunt. But if you feed a lion and a wolf plants, they become domesticated dogs and cats. That is simplistic. And heroin, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol are highly addictive to the lion and the wolf. But they're not natural to their nutrition. But if you force them and you convince them now in this world they're all good, we create addiction. Addiction is not natural to a wolf or a lion. They're force fed. And then throughout the manipulation of the thousands and thousands of years of evolution, if a mom eats plants, the baby is going to be born addicted to plants. Now we can turn it around and change it, but it really takes a mindset that is radically, radically different. And until we get radical about helping all of the wolves and all of the lions come back, we're destined to have a lot more cancer and diabetes and all sorts of things, even people dying. And we say, gee, we don't know why they died.
Mm.
So I'm kind of on this quest, and I've been a little on super drive because I paid a lot of money to be a doctor and get into the college and the universities to learn the secret. But now I'm learning the secret is a lie.
I got to tell you, Dr. Kiltz, it takes a lot of humility to be willing to reevaluate the paradigm, right? I mean, that's why it's like the way that you present this information is so compelling to me, because the carnivore diet flies in the face of the food pyramid. I remember being a little kid in class, seeing, the pyramid, and, you have tiny bits of fat because it'll make you fat, and all of this crazy stuff that, when we find out that it's actually manipulated, like dramatically manipulated, it's very shocking and unsettling, actually.
Well, I watched 10,000 BC. If you haven't watched the Netflix movie, it's fantastic. The pyramids. Remember, the pharaohs built the pyramids. Well, actually, they didn't. The slaves, the soldiers, the peasants, and the prisoners, but they are the ancestral ancient wolves and lions, human wolves and lions that were captured and convinced via the pyramid to be controlled. And what did you feed the peasants, the slaves, the soldiers, and the prisoners? You fed them mush. You didn't feed them meat. And if you gave them meat, you gave them a little bit of fat, maybe, and you gave them the lean tenderloin. The tenderloin is actually for the dogs. And now we use the word dogs in a negative way because ultimately dogs are wolves that had been manipulated by feeding them plants. And all domesticated dogs and cats actually eat mostly grass and grains and very little fat or meat. And in many of the healthy foods that are in a bag are plant-based, and they're planting the seed of this is healthy. So the word healthy doesn't exist in our ancient lion and wolf lifestyle. It only exists in the pyramid way. The pharaoh convinced them, oh, I'm the god and I control you. And then you're controlled. And we're easily manipulated, especially as children. And if we keep on telling the story, and we've been fed the story for so long that I sat down with a really great, smart, beautiful doctor this morning, had coffee with her. And most people haven't heard my story, and most doctors are the believers in the sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kool-Aid,
Mm-hmm.
Kool-Aid of the pyramid. And I what I usually say to most of us doctors, because we're highly opinionated, I know the right answer. By the way, no one should believe me. They got to do their own work. I'm just sharing something as a 66-year young physician that when I did this over 10 years ago, 11 now, suddenly all my bowel bleeding, arthritis, psoriasis, kidney stones, and migraines went away. And so, again, I figure that if my job as a doctor is to help people, not hurt them, I write the drugs and I do the dissections, and I'm still a standard American doctor, and I'll give you whatever you want. But when I learned this game-changing idea, I'm like, whoa. And the scientists, it's like, oh my God, well, the science has already claimed that a well-balanced, plant-based, low animal fat diet is the best. Again, we've been dictated and manipulated by the pharaohs, the priests, the presidents, the professors, and the pyramids. And it's deadly for everyone.
And it's interesting to me because, when I started exploring this, it was like I mean, even in the experience of eating meat, there's something deeply pleasurable about it. There's this ritual almost and appreciation that you have to have for the animal, that was harvested, for that. It's really an interesting way, as opposed, food as an experience as opposed to simply utilitarian.
Well, one is the ancients honored the gods, and we've lost the honoring of the gods. And so my doctor friend is like, "Oh, there's no God. Science knows the answer." And I'm like, usually on your deathbed, you're going to be saying, like, "God, please save me." And because ritualistically, we must honor the gods and all that the gods have given us. And so somehow we think, oh my gosh, God's dead. God doesn't exist. Science knows the answer. Well, we've gotten ourselves in a shitload of trouble in this world because the last I looked, cancer rates and heart disease and all the diseases that are usually for the more aged are hitting the young. And the amount of cancer centers and all this stuff is going up and up and up. And I met someone on the beach the other day. I was walking in Sarasota, went to the beach, got to the car, and this guy's sitting on the bench, and he lost his keys in the water. And I find out that he works at one of the local hospitals in the new cancer center's restaurant. So what does the cancer center feed everyone? Plants, vegetables, because they're so healthy. And is such a scary thing. And I shared him the Kiltz's Keto Carnivore way, and he was like, "Whoa!" But when you talk simplistic about it, it makes sense. And I usually start off with God and faith. And the last I looked, most of the gods were Bedouins. They were hunters and ancient. And even in the 10,000 BC, you honor the life that the animals gave for survival. And we all do that. And you have to honor the plants and all entities of the universe because they're all made up by God.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, let's talk about what makes carnivore. I know we were talking about the word healthy, but let's talk about why a carnivore diet is nutritious, because we get these ideas that, oh, kale, drink these kale smoothies, green juice, all this stuff. But it would be interesting to hear why meat is so nutritious in contrast to the greens.
So ultimately, the human being for 3.5 million years was a fatty animal meat eater. And so, however we evolved, likely the current human being was strictly an animal fatty meat eater. It was work to hunt. And we came out of the trees to eat the grass eaters, not the grass. And so our evolution shows that, if you believe in evolution. But even if you don't, when I went to a fatty meat nutrition, all my diseases went away, because plants are simply another organism that wants to thrive and survive. And we are not a grazing animal, we are a hunting animal. So plants contain sugar. Our bodies are meant and okay with converting sugar into fat in the liver, but we don't burn sugar as energy. That's a lie. And so we can do it, but we can't do it all the time, because if you do that, that will lead to the diseases. So if vegetables are ultimately all sugar, but sugar is bad, how is a vegetable good? It's just logic. Second, plants contain poisons. Heroin, cocaine, marijuana, curare, nicotine, the truth serum, whatever you want it to be, plants make all the poisons. They make the medicinal hallucinogenic compounds. They control humanity. Humans don't control plants. Plants are ultimately always going to survive and thrive in the world. Humans will die. That's our nature, because We're evolving, they're evolving, and ultimately we got it wrong. The third thing is sugar, plant chemicals, including estrogen, progesterone, and basically the birth control pill and the abortion pill come from plants. Duh. You know how many women are suffering with infertility, with migraines, of pelvic pain, and everything? Essentially, it's a simple answer. We don't need the science to give us like a million answers, and all of it is going to one day find the magic pill. BS. So the third thing is the antigens, lectins, oxalates, phytates, oxalates, glutens, all of the latex, all of the antigens, all of the glycoproteins, which don't easily break down in our bowels and don't provide the energy. It's like a splinter. It's like pollen. All of those entities get into your body, into your bloodstream, go to every cell of your body and are effing you up. But we call it autoimmune disease. It's not. It's like dust and dirt and splinters all over your body. What happens when you get a splinter? It gets red and hot and painful. Duh. We're not meant to eat splinters or consume them in our bodies. And when you eat plants, they come with bacteria, yeast, and viruses. So bacteria, yeast, and viruses in plants in your bowels ferment. And fermentation makes what? Alcohol. So basically, when you're feeding you and me and all of us with a plant-based, low animal fat diet, it's deadly for all of us. And again, the idea is so radical that 99.9% of us have already been brainwashed since before we're born because our mothers ate it, and it makes us addicted. So fermentation in the bowels is deadly. It makes heat, gas, alcohol, aldehydes. And again, you don't need fiber to make you have a bowel movement. You will shit no matter what you do in life. You can't stop it, just like you can't stop pee. Simple as can be. Listen, this is not like I've got my references. I've just lived it and I now know it. And I know how the science makes so much sense. Oh, and the fifth cause of all disease, by the way, is excessive exercise. No animal in the universe eats food and says, let me go burn off my calories and my fat. That would be paramount to death, because you own your fat. And if you don't own it in the famine, you're effed up. Sorry for my language, but we all know what the F word means.
Here. Yeah.
And like, Dr. Kiltz, you can't use the F word. Well, faith and fantastic all day long. I'm going to use it.
Faith, fantastic, and forgiveness.
And forgiveness. Oh my God. Look at Heavenly Father and Mother, forgive me for all my faults, but you gave me life to help humanity. As a physician, I now know the trick. And alcohol is deadly. Why are we going to the market at the end of the day and the quick stop to get a 12-pack or a 6-pack when you should be stopping at the gym to build your 6-pack and stop being fooled that alcohol is good for you? And marijuana is deadly. Now they got marijuana trucks delivering marijuana to your doorstep. Listen, we have been corralled and dictated and domesticated. And if you want to get out of it, eat fatty meat. And the other thing is that when you eat fat, you must eat fat. That reduces inflammation, that builds the power of your inflammatory cells in your body to protect the glycobiome. If you protect the glycobiome, you put at bay the microbiome. Eating and using probiotics is deadly. Somehow we've been fooled once again by the mass manipulators of science to tell you to eat bacteria. Would you put it in your eyes or a wound ever? No effing way. So isn't that simple?
It is simple, and it's also, it really, I think the past couple years have been such an interesting kind of experiment in the human condition where there's a lot of belief systems that are being upended, and critical thinking is starting to, kind of, I think, rise up and really, get us to question narratives and what it is about, how we can stay healthy and what we can do to really become those lions instead of the very docile sheep I think that so many of us have become.
Docile sheep, dogs, and cats. But it is simple. You start with, I am healthy, well, I am wealthy in life. There's nothing that needs to happen or show up in your life that somehow changes it. You are that already. So that's where God comes into me, and faith first. And the gods are within all of us. They're within our soul, our heart, and our minds. And it's a vibration of goodness. The more you listen and learn to me from JC, amazing, amazing, amazing. He, to me, is the master. And behind every good man is a good woman. And Mother Mary trumps all. To me, that's the foundation of it all. And so you're right. There's a change. But ultimately, there's only one human being responsible for the change, and that's the individual themselves.
Exactly.
We tend to want to blame everyone else in the universe for our problems. F that. No effing way. You are responsible 100% for all of your life. You now are learning how to give it up to God and take the power within, and the lion and the lioness will show themselves. And again, you don't have to fight. You just have to foster forgiveness, faith, and generosity and kindness in life.
Yeah. And it's incredible because, I think that, especially, I mean, since I spend my days just like you do with women that are trying to conceive, it's, I think it would be awesome for you to share, like, what are some of the things that, women trying to conceive specifically should consider when thinking about the carnivore diet? Like, what impact can it have on hormones and, overall health and goodness like that?
Well, I've got Kiltz's keto. This may be backwards, which is the carnivore, Kiltz's Keto Carnivore guide. And the new one's coming out. And listen, we're getting rid of all the yickety yak of pretend food. Done with that. Okay. No more pretending that we're lions. We are. All right. Be it, do it. Right. So, what's the cause of all disease? It's a low animal fat, high plant-based diet. Simple. All right. So by going carnivore, oh my God, you're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You're going to be pregnant faster. And again, it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, listen, I've seen every story where low AMH, PCOS, metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, endometriosis, adenomyosis, suddenly, voila, I'm pregnant. Dr. Kiltz, I'm pregnant. Now, again, just look at the stories out there. We're building our new mighty network, which has more on Zoom, but it's Kiltz's mighty tribe. And really it is, we are globally all coming together. I'm learning from so many, but you want to get the inflammation down. Now, I've got drugs. I've got high dose steroids. I got Lovenox. I got IVIG. I've got Humira. I've got a toolbox of drugs. But what we're sharing to do is, well, maybe we should say, well, again, diets are dead. And now we're basically being fed the natural human nutrition for a human being. And, listen, so many women and men develop their fertility by not doing keto carnivore or whatever it is. But, when nothing is working, you need to convert and look at the way. I call it Kiltz's Keto Carnivore, the guide, which is 1 meal a day at night. Fatty meats, the best are the bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and salt. I personally make an ice cream that you can either add the cane sugar or not. It's up to you. And flattered, fed, and effed, right? Because ultimately, there's nothing about life that is in any of this. We're all doing it for only one reason. I don't care. You're an artist, you're a mechanic, you're a pilot, you're a blogger or vlogger, what it is. It's to get effed. and because it's about making babies. And babies matter most. I'm sorry, the culture and civilization that has no babies, they're dead. And we're now, birth control pills are deadly. All this stuff of the IUD and ways of preventing pregnancy has caused terrible havoc in this world. I'm sorry. And so, listen, you don't have a baby, you don't have sex. Like, oh my God, but I got to have sex with everyone. I mean, is that really a good idea to have sex with 20 people in a week? I mean, I'm sorry, it's deadly, but I'll have sex. We'll have sex with yourself. I mean, there's lots of ways to make ourselves happy, which doesn't require going down the street and constantly saying, well, let me, again, I'm not to be disrespectful to anyone, but, if taking the birth control pill and then the abortion pill or getting an abortion is healthy for you, go at it. But the last I learned, it's not good for any of us. And so again, no disrespect to anyone's life that they choose to lead, but ultimately, I believe a lot of us have gotten ourselves in trouble. And so, I sort of took a little roadside journey there, but ultimately, what is carnivore going to give you? Shit, you're going to feel amazing. The clarity, the energy, the vibration. And, if you're looking to get pregnant, it's going to up your odds. It's going to make you feel better. And men and women, young and old, once you're done with feeding from the breast, go to the bone marrow, the bone broth, the fatty meat. That's the way. And moms, when you're pregnant, you stay carnivore, keto, 1 meal a day, and that's kick ass. That's the game changer. I call it the baby's way. Who doesn't like bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and Kiltz's ice cream?
I got to try the Kiltz's ice cream. I've seen it on your Instagram.
Well,
it looks amazing.
Life is a treat and a reward from time to time. But if it's heroin, cocaine, marijuana, or like a bottle of vodka, it's deadly, right?
Yeah.
We are the temples of life. You got to put yourself in the temple, not the pyramid, the temple. And that is the key. And that's why prayer, meditation, and love and forgiveness and kindness is radical in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting because, I see women from all over the world that are, struggling with fertility, much like you do. And, my part of the equation is mindset, really thinking about how do you bring, because you have the physical, you have the mental, and they have to work together. And what I love about, what you're sharing here is you're bringing the whole package. You're saying, look, you've got to look at this as a whole and really think about flipping tables, about what we've always been told about, our bodies, ourselves, our own personal power. We don't have to hand that over to science and abdicate our power.
The Flexner Report was developed by Rockefeller and other very wealthy people in the 1900s early. They basically wanted control, just like the government and industry took control. They closed down the medical schools for women, for those of color, or those they deemed, you probably shouldn't be in medical school and be doctors. Ultimately, they still control all the science. So ultimately, science, we've been duped. It's all snake oil. I'm sorry. I'm a doctor. I've read it all. I've been kicked to the curb. I've been sued in ways that says I don't know what I'm talking about. And I realized that, I thought, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. I must be wrong. And every time a doctor says, Dr. Kiltz, the crazy guy. And I've learned JC and many other humans in this world have shared crazy ideas. And it's time that you just, if you're going to die today. Tell them the story that you believe in. I honor everyone in medicine and science and all the amazing people in the world that are working to create more masters, mommies and daddies, parents, and working to help create individual masters, all of us, and rather than the meek. And the meek shall inherit the earth is the gift that God gave us, that when you eat the meat, you become the master. And when we say meat, it's fatty meat. We're fativores. You eat the fat, you become healthy and well. If you eat the mush, you get unhealthy and ill. And then you're going to go to the doctor and say, please fix me, give me a drug. And then you're addicted to the drug. They're going to manage you for the rest of your life. And you're just shit. Sorry, you get addicted to it. And all the drugs and the needs go away. Now, again, you may need them from time to time, but you will need them very little at time.
Right. And it's more of like a, sort of a very specialized weapon that you would use for a finite period of time. It's there to help, but not to be a lifestyle.
I went to the doctor with a herniated disc, and the doctor said, whoa, good friend of mine. Actually, the friend died. He died of cancer. Why did he die of cancer? All the reasons that we're telling and talking about. Exact same thing. But basically, I've gone to the doctor for hernia repair. I had a vasectomy. But I want to get the hernia repaired. I wanted the disc bulging. And he was a good guy, said, let's just wait. Well, I suffered for another 5 years. We never did anything. But then when I went carnivore, all the pain went away.
I have heard that so many times, like Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson, they've all talked about this, shift over to, I think she had arthritis. She had rheumatoid arthritis at a really young age.
She had it all. And if you look at Georgia Eade, she's a psychiatrist. Look at this is amazing. Remember, all the drugs that humans have created, including the medicinal drugs, are both helpful and hurtful. There's a dose that'll kill you and the dose that'll heal you. And there might even be a dose that does nothing. So we have been duped, right? And so ultimately, plants contain all the poisons that are killing us. Plus the sugars that the plants contain destroy the glycobiome. Think about Agent Orange being spread all over the jungle. All right. When you destroy the jungle, you destroy the glycobiome of the planet. The glycobiome is a sugar protective layer that protects the earth, that protects your body. But you're not meant to eat it. You're meant to eat the fatty meat as a lion. But all the diseases go away. It's stupidly simple. To me, the science is simple. And by the way, there's a glycobiome on your teeth. You brush your teeth too much, you destroy the glycobiome. But if you're eating plants all the time and you're not eating fatty meat from time to time, you're going to destroy your teeth. If you look at the Weston Price and more, if you look at James Henry Salisbury steak, fatty meat, he fed the people in the Civil War, the soldiers. He recognized they were dying of dysentery, not by bullets. And so he fed them fatty meat, and suddenly all their diseases went away.
It's incredible. Well, so let's say somebody is willing to try this out. Like, if somebody's just getting started, how would they do that? First of all, get your book. But like, what are some things to be thinking about?
Well, the first thing is immerse yourself in those that are sharing the story, and go through the blogs of my Instagram and look at our Facebook and YouTube and all of these, and look at others that are doing it. Because the best way I've learned in life is by reading, watching, and listening to the doers of the thing I want to do. I want to have a baby and healthy. So 25 years ago, I started on the mindful path. I shared mindfulness and prayer and acupuncture, meditation, yoga in my fertility practice. I created CNY Healing Arts. And then a bunch of my patients were getting pregnant on this thing called paleo. And then I read about paleo and keto. And then I fell into carnivore personally. And so by reading, listening, and watching to those who are doing it, to me, it's infinitesimally simple. If you're a lion, why would you eat like a sheep? So how long does it take? Well, simply go to your home, get a trash can, throw away everything that's from the plant world, and either online order it, go to the market, and it doesn't matter what market you're at, buy fatty meat, buy butter, buy cream, buy eggs, buy bacon. No, there's no such thing as turkey bacon. It's deadly. All right. Turkey bacon has no fat and it's made up. If it doesn't look like it came either from the cow or the pig quickly, and you don't touch it. Right. And so for me, I do my one meal, one snack, maybe. It's always a little bit of cheese. I eat very little cheese. I mostly go right to the fatty meat. And if I may, and it's always a ribeye personally, but you can buy you can buy meat and then grind it in. I say it should be at least 50% fat and 50% red stuff. All right. That's the way, but you got to eat the fat because the fat is the medicinal thing. Oh, wait a minute, Dr. Kiltz. They say fat's going to give me high cholesterol. Okay. High cholesterol is not the cause of any disease. It's a made up disease, which ultimately gets a drug sold, which then creates diabetes in many other drugs. When you look at these studies, and Dr. David Diamond, I think his name is, has some really great stuff on cholesterol, but ultimately, everyone's arguing over some scientific data. Well, it might be good for this group and not this group. And the studies are like, we need more studies. The last I looked, do you need another study to teach a lion to eat like a lion? No way. But it's the mindset that is so critical. That's why I watch and I listen and I learn. And people, they blog me, ask me questions. I love to talk about this. I talk about faith, fatty, fertile foods, and fitness. I do a little bit of resistance stuff, light weights, maybe some X-band stuff. But, mostly I work on this thing every day.
That's the most expensive real estate there is.
Oh my God. Like, you get a stroke, you're effed, right?
Right.
My brother just went blind in one eye and everyone's like, gee, we don't know why. Well, it's because my brother wasn't the carnivore. And the fativore is really what we are. So Kiltzivore is the fativore. Carnivore, it's why I eat tenderloin and chicken and fish. There's no fat in those things. And if you're skinny in a famine, you're fertilizer.
Yeah. Well, and think about this. I mean, I love it because you at 66 are fit as fuck. Like this is like hashtag Dr. Kiltz goals. Like I mean, that is it. You're showing the efficacy of this by doing what you say that, what you're preaching here. You're walking the talk and you show it.
I'm inspired by so many people out there, Michaela Jordan Peterson, by Sean Baker and Ken Berry and Bella, and Roseanne Austin. We need to be inspired by others that do the thing that we want to do. And again, my sister Marie Ann had diabetes since age 4. What caused it? Grass and grain and no animal fat diet, in my opinion. And then my good friend Dave died of cancer, 52, healthy guy. He looked fit. And by the way, exercise is not necessary in life. You got to move, you got to create, you got to do the things you love to do. I do pottery, painting, poetry, music. And I'm bad at it. Badass at it. Listen, what I've learned in life is that if you're not good at something, do it. Fail. I'm a failure. I fly jets. I fly airplanes. I even know how to drive a car and ride a bike. Whoa. I mean, how many humans in the universe know how to drive a car and ride a bike ever? Right?
Yeah.
Not many. Right?
It's, but what you're exuding is this zest for life. And, and I tell women all the time, I said, vitamin joy matters on this journey. Like the more excited, high vibrational you can be, the easier it is for your baby to find you.
That's the part that I've learned more than anything. I don't care what you eat. You can eat a pure vegan, vegetarian, plant-based meal, and you can still be healthy and well. So I'm not trying to say, hey, everyone, come to the carnivore side. Listen, come to the joy of life side first, right? And if you still have a problem, like, you might be interested in this little secret.
Yeah.
And the secret is simple. The gods are us. And within us is the God energy. And when I read the 3 Magic Words by U.S. Anderson, if you go to Kiltz's Keto Guide, you'll see all my books are drkiltz.com. They're there. And I'm learning. I'm reading Robin Sharma right now, the 5 a.m. Club. So I created the Kiltz's 5 a.m. tribe, which it's just the Kiltz's Mighty Tribe. It's my art and my joy and my fun. And in life, you want to have joy and be the artist and have shit-ass fun. But when we're living our life with, oh my God, so many hardships and challenges, and life is unfair, well, you're going to live that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure none of us want to live that, because I've been there. Listen, I've been divorced. My daughter barely talks to me. Not really. My girlfriend yells at me all the time. Oh, she loves me. When I'm saying this, look at my parents have no troubles because they're dead. I talk to them infinitely. My mom says, Rob, it's okay. My sister says, hey, Rob, it's like, you're awesome, amazing, and God is good. Listen, dead people have no troubles, and troubles are the treasures that God has given all of us. It doesn't matter what religion or non-religion you are. It's all a gift. And when you live that first, whether you're a carnivore, a pescatarian, a Mediterranean, a vegetarian, or a vegan, it doesn't matter. Joy in life, 1 meal a day, add the fat, and make a shitload of mistakes in life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, failure is amazing. Like I love trying new shit because it means you're growing, you're not stagnating. And if you're not falling on your face, you're not living big enough. Right? I always encourage my ladies. I'm like, fuck shit up.
Fuck shit up. I live on my knees. I live on my knees. Meaning that, first of all, I pray to God with gratitude, and I fall on my knees all the time. And there is where the growth happens. Because if you haven't been pushed to the curb and really, ground in life in some way, then you don't have the energy that pushes. So I always say pain pushes until the light pulls. And I even did a YouTube video once, long time ago, on pain pushes until the light pulls. And what I learned is that God is within all of us. And Jesus Christ on the cross is telling the guy next to him, like, it's okay. Faith in God and love, and come on, we're going to heaven. And then they went to the cave to find Jesus, and he wasn't there because he's got our back. They turned around and there he was. He's got our back. And sometimes when I'm running or walking or anything, I put the cross right in the back, and because he's got my back.
Mm.
And when you live that, again, we focus on the studies. Well, the studies say this, and but there's controversy in that one. And we're trying to answer the whys, right? Well, why did so-and-so get cancer? So I fly airplanes, and I'm always listening and watching the post-accident breakdown and the NTSB. And there are many people that I listen to and watch on this Blanco Lirio and a couple other people, and I love watching this stuff. They're analyzing why planes crash and humans die. But what we're not doing in modern medicine is analyzing why. Because the paradigm is, wait a minute, plants are good, so you couldn't have died from plants because those are good. You must have died from meat. Well, last I looked, for all the people that die of cancer also ate plants. So to me, you can never say it's meat because plants are always eaten too. It's like you're a smoker and it used heroin, cocaine, those are probably, big factors. Plants, oh no, they're good. Well, remember the pyramid, the pharaohs, the president, the pope, the priest, and the professors, and the physicians. these ideas that Kiltz has are wrong and so many other people. And again, I simply am learning from people like you. And I just get online, I listen to shit, and I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. This is good. And the more I do it, the more I'm like, wow. Simply, it's Occam's razor says the simple answer is the one. And I'm looking for simplicity. And the more people I share this with and teach and motivate and be the cheerleader, you want your doctor to be a cheerleader and a coach, not a like, oh my God, let's see. Oh, we got a list of diseases that you have. You come in, you're just a list of diseases. I mean, do you want that fucking doctor for your, like coach and cheerleader?
Hell no.
Look at, Vince Lombardi went out on the field to tell us guys, you're all lousy. You don't know what you're doing. You're a bunch of pansies. He said, come on, pansies and you idiots. You are awesome, amazing. Get out there and do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, Dr. Kiltz. I mean, I love that basically the call to action for you is reminding us that we are lions, not sheep, and for women to take responsibility for their fertility and go ask questions, go up in the apple cart. Don't be afraid. You have this, I always tell women, I'm like, you have this desire in your heart to be a mom because it's there because it was meant for you, that God speaks through us, and this desire is meant to be fulfilled. So go after it like your fucking hair is on fire, right? Well, don't let anyone tell you no.
Well, so ladies lead and men meander. Ladies lead and men meander. We know, men always after the sexy babe, right? And sexy is all in the eyes of the beholder, by the way. All size, shape, age, weights, gender, I don't care. Own your sexiness, okay? We should stop labeling obesity, BMI, or anything. Get rid of next to hypertension, the diabetes, and everything. Remember, every disease is simply due to the poison you put in the plants. Your disease, everyone. Remember, we've been taught to label you based on your disease. Oh, you're the obese person. You're the hypertensive. You're the diabetic. You're the cancer. You're this and that. Enough of that. It's kind of like an alcoholic. Well, you're an alcoholic because you drink alcohol. Guess what? You don't drink alcohol, you're no longer an alcoholic. And remember, we even in medicine are labeling people, oh, you're addicted to food and you're an alcoholic, and oh, you have these diseases for life. Stop it. Why are we brainwashed to be the negative when we're beautiful and perfect? Correct?
Because
money makes the world go round. Mommies do.
Yeah.
Mommies are the magic of the universe. And, on Father's Day, no fathers exist without mothers. Yeah. Mothers trump. Ladies lead, men meander. I am sorry. We're a bunch of meatheads and dickheads. And I say it in a way, ladies, what does your man need? What's simple? Right? Flatter them, feed them, and fuck them. And I'm sorry. This was Julia Child said this one.
Exactly. I remember.
And by the way, Julia Child was infertile because ultimately we are now leading with the lions to call all sheep. Actually, they're not sheep. They're lions that have been dressed in sheep skin. Shed the sheep skin, right? Jesus Christ was the Lion King. He wasn't a shepherd, but in his shepherdness, when you have a Lion King leading the sheep, that's what you want. But all the sheep become the lions because ultimately that's what we are. And listen, of the top predators, the most prestigious is the regal lion. And all civilizations have basically led the masses because they fed them mush.
Wow.
And it's really simple.
Yeah, thank you for that, Dr. Kiltz, because I think that, so much can be taken from this conversation about nutrition, about mindset, about leadership, about license and agency in your own life and, respecting the body temple, not the pyramid. I mean, there's so much that's quotable from this. Thank you so much, Dr. Kiltz. So give us the rundown. How can women, men, and everyone interested find you? I know you're on Instagram, YouTube, and your books are on Amazon.
Yes. So I try to hide. So I came down to Sarasota for my 5-day retreat. I come down here to retreat. I get on my bike. I go to I do my weight. I meet some new people. I go for a walk or a light run, very little. I don't run very much. I bike ride. I get in my painting and pottery studio. But ultimately, this is the place. So, the master of health and wellness is social media, and that's it. Just Google Dr. Kiltz, Crazy Kiltz, Hey You. You could look at Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, drkiltz.com. Join Kiltz's Mighty Tribe, which is kind of our new way. And again, I'm just sharing what I've learned from so many before me. And our legacy of life is to share and pass it on. And remember, moms, eat the fatty meat, eggs, bacon, butter, cream. Your child in utero will understand that it's a lion, not a pig, cow, and a sheep. All the diseases of pregnancy will, I think, be reduced significantly. And when your baby's born, breastfeed. Listen, and when you eat this way, you'll reduce the damage to the glycobiome. You'll make the most amazing, fattiest milk ever. It's got the sugars your baby needs in utero, and breastfeeding for 1, 2, or 3 years, whatever it is. And so, we have books on Amazon. We're doing many, many more things. And please invite me. I'll invite you. We all need to be invited to the table, to the feast. We're doing meetups. I'm going to a meetup in the Northeast, July 16th with the Carnivore Doctor and Kelly Hogan, Lisa Wiedemann. But this is a tribe.
Yes.
But the tribe starts with one, yourself. Right. And that is so critical in life. And all of us feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. And, I'm learning every day. But this is the game changer. And I so appreciate you, Roseanne Austin, for sharing what you're doing. And God bless you. And everyone out there, a blessing. Look in the mirror and see the goddess and the God within. And when you look at Kiltz's crazy keto carnivore way, you'll be like, doesn't make sense. You do it, you'll fucking feel amazing.
I know. And, thank you so much, Dr. Kiltz. I admire so much about your courage, your humility, your humanity, and your willingness to go out and teach and make mistakes and basically give all the haters the finger. Because, you're doing your thing.
But I'm going to tell you, though, in that, I don't want to, we respect everyone. And I think we're inviting everyone to the table for the conversation. Absolutely. That's really critical in life. And you know that, and I know that. And so in essence, I'm willing to step up to the table, and I'm willing, we have 3 F's in life. We have flee, we have fight, and we have freeze. And what we're doing is we're learning to stand still first. We all have fear. All of us. I'm fearful of this conversation, but Jesus Christ, the God's within, all say, stand still, know that God is within all of us, and you will be protected. And the protection is we're teaching even those that we're fighting. And when we foster love to everyone, that's really the key to life. So
Always. Well, thank you, Dr. Kiltz. Go have an amazing day in Sarasota. Get some wonderful vitamin D, and sending you and yours so much love.
I'm getting in my plane, going to pick up Miss Tia in Manhattan, Kansas, and back to Syracuse. So keep traveling, keep learning, and keep challenging yourself. That's the key. So God bless.
God bless.
Love this episode of the Fearlessly Fertile podcast? Subscribe now and leave an awesome review. Remember, the desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. When it comes to your dreams, keep saying hell yes.